The sophistication of your market. How many products have been there before you? As we mentioned before, there are 3 questions you must answer before you can determine what goes into your headline. These are: 1. What is the mass desire that motivates your market? 2. How much does your market know about your product? Their state of awareness. 3. How many similar products have they been told about before? Their state of sophistication. This third question is the most easily answered. A few hours research should give you samples of every competing ad in the field if there are any. If you are first in your market, if there are not, if you are the first in your particular market, with your particular product, then you are dealing with prospects that have no sophistication about your product at all. In other words, they have never received any information about such a product before. Once you get them interested, they are likely to become much more enthusiastic, believe much more of what you have to say, and buy that much more readily. Remember, your story is brand new to them. This, of course, is the dream of every manufacturer and every copywriter. To be first. And it happens quite often today. Sometimes, because of a technological breakthrough creating a new product, women's hair sprays, or a radically better product, long playing records, or a familiar product at an explosively low price, the Model T Ford. And sometimes, such a brand new market is created by the insight of an advertising man, dealing with an already established. In this case, the ad man visualizes the application of the product to an entirely different market, the switch, in the 20s, of Ovaltine from an aid for insomnia to a bodybuilder for skinny children. Or he reaches that market through a hitherto untapped medium. Revlon's fabulous results from sponsorship of the $64,000 question in the early days of TV. Or he discovers a previously unnoticed performance of his product that carries it completely beyond the limits of its old market. Like Bowie's discovery that people would accept its strong medicinal odor as a cure for perspiration odor, and their subsequent christening of that odor with the catchword BO. When such a golden opportunity to be first presents itself, you are probably dealing with a market in its 3rd or 4th stage of awareness. Your prospects know that they would like what your product does, or they would like to get rid of the problem your product solves if it were only possible. Here, the answer to your 3rd question is quite simple. You are dealing with a market where you are first. Therefore, they have no previous information about similar products. Therefore, they are completely unsophisticated. And your exploitation of this answer, your strategy, in approaching this market is equally simple. 1. Be simple. Be direct. Above all, don't be fancy. Say either the need or the claim in your headline, nothing more. Dramatize the claim in your copy, make it as powerful as possible. And then bring in your product, and prove that it works. Nothing more, because nothing more is needed. To illustrate, let's look at one of the most profitable, insatiable, constantly renewing, and therefore overworked fields in marketing history, the reducing field. No one knows who was the first man to stumble on the reducing field, though it's fairly certain that he must have become a millionaire. But all he had to say in his headline, as a simple statement of the direct desire of millions of women, now, lose ugly fat. As he started to clean up, others inevitably followed. But, by this time, the reducing field had already been tapped. Advertisements had been run. The direct claim had been made. Mere repetition would no longer be enough. In other words, the reducing market was now in its 2nd stage of sophistication. A new approach was necessary. The strategy had to be changed to this: if you're second, do this. If you're second, and the direct claim is still working, then copy that successful claim but enlarge on it. Drive it to the absolute limit. Outbid your competition. For example, here are 2 successful headlines in the now fiercely competitive reducing field that did just that. They have both been pushed to the outer limits of both legality and believability. But they both worked. Lose up to 47 pounds in 4 weeks or receive $40. I am 61 pounds lighter. Never a hungry minute. In most fields, this enlarged claim technique reaches the outer limits in successive stages. Sometimes the completion of this process takes years. In the home garden field, as another example, an advertiser brought out a flower-abundant rose using this headline with startling success: pick 25, 50, 100 roses from this one magnificent plant. It worked. And so, some years later, a special variety of cushion mums swept the country with this headline: 600 mums from a single bush. And, 1 year later, this headline carried the process to what are probably the absolute limits of Mother Nature. Who ever heard of 17,000 blooms from a single plant? As simple as this evolution looks, it produces results. It provided a tremendous lift to car sales in the 1950s, when 50 more horsepower was added to the advertisements every year. It was climaxed in the Chrysler 300, a car named after its horsepower rating, and pegged just at the limit of believability, practicality, and the inevitable public reaction. For the reaction will come. Toward the end, the process disintegrates. The successful claim is overworked, enlargement piles on enlargement. New competitors enter the field, each trying to promise more. Headlines double and triple in size. Words begin to lose their meaning, whiter than whites appear. The prospect becomes confused, then skeptical. Believability is shattered, claims are automatically discounted 50% by their readers. More promise is poured in to compensate. The government begins to investigate. And the sales curve begins to turn down. The 3rd stage of sophistication. At this point, your market has entered into its 3rd stage of sophistication. Your prospects have now heard all the claims, all the extremes. Perhaps they have even bought 1 or 2 competitive products. Every time they open a newspaper, another similar headline screams out at them. How are they to distinguish one product from the mass? How do you break through to reach them? One factor is vital here. That is the restorative power of the market you're dealing with. It may be a market based on a constantly recurring mass instinct, such as reducing. It may be a market based on an unsolved technological problem, such as spark plug replacement. It may be a market that periodically wishes to renew or improve its purchases, such as cars, homes, appliances. In all these cases, the desire never fades, the market continually renews itself. New prospects come into the market. Old customers become dissatisfied with their old purchases, their old solutions, and begin to look again. The mass desire, the tremendous profit potential still exists. But it cannot be tapped by the old, simple methods any longer. Women still want to lose weight. But by now they've read dozens of ads for reducing aids, all promising them to take off 20, 30, 40 pounds in a matter of weeks. They no longer fully believe them. Perhaps they believe these ads so little that they won't even try a new product at all. For months, even years, they may simply accept their overweight condition as something that just can't be helped. But the desire never fades. The dissatisfaction builds up, month after month. Secretly, perhaps even unconsciously, these women are hoping to find a new product, a new headline, that promises them a new way to satisfy that age-old desire. And on this fundamental fact, we build our strategy for selling a market in its third stage of sophistication. If your market is at the stage where they've heard all the claims, in all their extremes, then mere repetition or exaggeration won't work any longer. What this market needs now is a new device, to make all these old claims become fresh and believable to them again. In other words, a new mechanism, a new way to making the old promos work. A different process, a fresh chance, a brand new possibility of success, where only disappointment has resulted before. Here the emphasis shifts from what the product is to how it works. Not accomplishment, but performance becomes dominant. The headline expands. The claim remains, but now it is reinforced by the mechanism that accomplishes it. In the reducing field, for example, the limits of its basic promise had been reached by headlines like this: "I'm 61 pounds lighter." Never a hungry minute. Now new leaders emerge, avoiding the competition of claims, stressing mechanism instead, like this: "Floats fat right out of your body. First wonder drug for reducing." A vital change has taken place in both these ads and in every ad that deals successfully with this third stage of sophistication. In the previous, second stage ads, the entire headline was taken up by a complete statement of the main claim. Below it, in smaller type, in either a subhead or the body copy, came the mechanism that accomplished the claim. Often, this mechanism was abbreviated, simply mentioned instead of being explained, indicated by a sort of shorthand, like this: "I'm 61 pounds lighter." Never a hungry minute. Read the astonishing experience of New York food expert with the famous Eat and Rent plan. In third stage ads, however, this arrangement is completely reversed. By this time, the basic claim has become well known to almost all its prospects, perhaps even too well known. Therefore, this shorthand can be applied to the claim itself. What was before a 5 to 10 word headline describing nothing but the basic claim, "I am 61 pounds lighter," can he communicate it in a single word in a headline devoted to explaining how this claim is accomplished. For instance, "Floats fat right out of your body." Or, "First wonder drug for reducing." First, the mechanism is brought into the headline to establish a point of difference, to make the old claims fresh and believable again. And then once the prospect is told that here is a brand new chance for success, then the claim can be restated in full, to make sure that she realizes everything she is getting. Like this: "Floats fat right out of your body." Released for the first time. The amazing scientific discovery that melts up to 37 pounds off men and women without starvation diets, without a single hungry moment, without even giving up the foods you love. Or using the same third stage arrangement of mechanism in the headline and claim elaborated in the lead paragraph, we have this ad: "First wonder drug for reducing." Used successfully by thousands of physicians. Lose as many pounds as you like without diets, without exercise, without giving up the kinds of food you love to eat. In both these ads and all others like them, the promise itself is subordinated to the mechanism which accomplishes the promise. This mechanism is featured in the headline. When ads such as these are successful, you are dealing with a market that is in its third stage of sophistication. The fourth stage, but you are still in a competitive market, and such ads give only a temporary advantage. Such ads, presenting a new promise, begin a new trend. Within a few months, the third stage of sophistication passes into a fourth stage, a new stage of elaboration and enlargement. But this time, the elaboration is concentrated on the mechanism, rather than on the promise, like this: "First no diet reducing wonder drug." This fourth stage strategy can be summarized like this: if a competitor has just introduced a new mechanism to achieve the same claim as that performed by your product, and that new mechanism announcement is producing sales, then you counter in this way. Simply elaborate or enlarge upon the successful mechanism. Make it easier, quicker, surer, allow it to solve more of the problem, overcome old limitations, promise extra benefits. You are beginning a stage of embellishment similar to the second stage of sophistication described above. The same strategy will be effective here. But, unfortunately, so will the same limitations. The fourth stage of sophistication, like the second stage which it resembles, eventually pushes itself out of the realm of believability. At this point, further elaborations become ineffective. You are then F.